everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and today I'll be filming the mid-year book Freakout tag. I've been seeing this tag going around my subscription feed and I really enjoy watching these videos and thought this would be a somewhat concise way to wrap up or review my reading for the first half of 2016. Without further ado, let's get into the questions. Question number 1, the best book that you've read so far in 2016. For this question, I've picked one fiction and one nonfiction book. For fiction, I chose Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. When I was looking on Goodreads through all the books that I read this year, Lady Midnight was the one that just really stood out to me. I thought that it was just wonderful in every way. The characters were great, the setup was great. This is going to be such an epic trilogy. This was quite possibly my favorite Cassandra Clare book to date, and I think that the Dark Artifices trilogy is going to be fantastic. As for my favorite nonfiction book of the year, I chose Teaching to Transgress by Bell Hooks. I love Bell Hooks' writing. She wrote a book about education and teaching, which is the field that I'm going into, so of course I loved it. This is just a fantastic collection of essays that will stick with me for a very long time. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2016. I had to go with A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to A Darker Shade of Magic. Oh, I am so excited for book 3 because I enjoyed A Darker Shade of Magic, but I would have liked the characters and the world to be a bit more developed. And then book 2, A Gathering of Shadows, just completely took my breath away. I thought that the multiple points of view in this book were executed so well, and I just love where this story is going, and it had kind of like a Triwizard tournament-y feel to it because there's like this big magic tournament going on, and I am just falling in love with all of these characters. I think I'm a little bit in love with every character in this series right now, so yeah, I had to go with The Gathering of Shadows for this question. Question number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. It's Homegoing by Ya Jiazi. This is a family saga spanning multiple centuries, and it just chronicles two branches of this family, these two half-sisters whose lives take very different paths. These two sisters are born into different villages in Ghana in the 18th century, and their lives diverge and take very different paths, and it chronicles the two lines of this family through the following centuries and even into the 20th century in the United States. It just sounds like such an epic novel, and I've heard really great things about it, and I love books like this, and this is an Own Voices book, which I'm trying to read a lot more of this year, so Homegoing is one that I will definitely be picking up soon. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and honestly for me there was only one answer to this question, and that was Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. This is going to be the 5th installment in the Throne of Glass series, which I love. I know Throne of Glass is quite a polarizing series on BookTube. People either love it or hate it. I love it, and at this point I'm just too attached to Selena and crew that I just need to know what happens. I need to know that everyone's gonna be okay, which I know everyone's not gonna be okay, but I just need to see how this is going to end, and this is book 5 of a 6-book series, so things are starting to wrap up, so I'm really anxious for this to come out. I'm also nervous because I don't know what's going to happen and I'm scared. Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment of the year, and again, there was really only one answer for this, and for me that was Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. Everyone freaking loves this book. They rave about it all the time and how great it is and how sad and how tragic and blah blah blah. No, I hated it. The writing was so bad. You guys, I will rant about this for days. I hated the characters, I hated the writing. The subject matter is irrelevant to me. If you don't know, Forbidden is about an incestuous relationship that develops between a brother and a sister, and that is not what bothered me about this book. I just thought the writing was horrific and nothing happened in the story, and it was so angsty. I mean, like, obviously it's gonna be angsty, it's about incest, but like, just too angsty for me, and it was quite a tragic story with quite a tragic ending, and I just did not enjoy the experience of reading Forbidden at all. Would not recommend. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. If the question means biggest surprise as in a book that you had very low expectations for but that blew you out of the water, I would have to go with, of course, Akamath, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. If you don't know, A Court of Mist and Fury is the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy, I think it's gonna be, and I really disliked the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I had a lot of problems with it. Needless to say, I was not expecting much going into A Court of Mist and Fury, book 2. However, like it seems most other people on BookTube, I was just completely blown away by A Court of Mist and Fury. Like, it was a whole other level of good. It might be my favorite Sarah J. Maas book to date. I don't even have the words. It was so good, and it was just exponentially better, like no contest at all with the first. And I love all the new characters that were introduced, and I love the world and the ending. I am so anxious to see where the series goes because that was such a badass ending. And yeah, A Court of Mist and Fury was definitely a big surprise to me. Question number 7 is favorite new author, either debut or just new to you, and I chose a new to me author, and that would have to be Benjamin Alire Science, who wrote Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I don't know why it took me so long to read Aristotle and Dante, but I finally read it this summer and I was just so blown away by it. Such a beautiful story, and I thought that the writing was incredible, and I can't wait to read other things by Benjamin Alire Science. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush, and is there another answer? Rhysand from A Court of Mist and Fury. That's all. That's all. Question number 9 is newest favorite character, and I actually will have to go with Edda from Not Otherwise Specified by Hannah Moskowitz. I mentioned in my June wrap-up that Edda is one of the strongest voices that I've ever read. It's like a stream of consciousness sort of narrative at times, but I loved it, and I loved every second of being inside Edda's head. She's definitely become one of my new favorite protagonists. Also, Not Otherwise Specified is a book that I don't hear talked about very often, but I thought it was great, and I highly recommend that you pick it up. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry, and a little known fact about me is that I cry at every book ever. I'm not a crier in general at like movies and TV shows and like things like that, music, whatever. No, books like have this way of just manipulating my tear duct. It's impossible for me to pick a certain book that made me cry because almost everything that I read makes me cry, whether it's happy tears, sad tears, just like overcome with emotion tears. I cry at every book ever, so I don't have a specific answer for this question. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and I have to go with a recent read for this one, and that is You Know Me Well by Nina LaCour and David Levithan. It follows 2 high school students, one gay man and one lesbian, during the week of San Francisco Pride, and it's just all about self-discovery and who really does know you well. It just made me so happy. I loved it. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought or received this year, and I have to go with The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. The entire Raven Cycle quartet, I think the covers are all stunning and they all just go together so wonderfully, and I think the cover of The Raven King might be my favorite of the 4 of them. Question number 13 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Some that I really am hoping to read by the end of the year are The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, oh, and Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I DNF'd Six of Crows a few months ago because I just wasn't feeling it at the time, but I really want to finish it because everyone just raves and raves about this series, and I know that the second book in this duology is coming out soon, so I need to finish Six of Crows. And the last question, question 14, is your favorite book community member? And I think that I'm going to go with Joss from Squibbles Read. I discovered her after BEA, I think. She was like in a bunch of people's videos that I watch, and I found her channel, and I'm so grateful I did because she is such a champion of own voices literature. I feel like I'm constantly being educated by her videos and by her tweets, and I really appreciate it, and I think that she is awesome and gives great recommendations. She also doesn't read just the typical YA stock that a lot of booktube reads. I feel like I learn about a lot of different books from her channel that really interest me, and I've gotten a lot of good recommendations from her channel so far this year, so I really recommend that you check her out and subscribe to her if you're not already. So that is the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna tag Johanna from Johanna Books. I'm going to tag Kaylin from Kay's Cozy Reads, Michaela from Bookish Branches, Julie from A Girl in a Book. I'm gonna tag those people, and I hope you guys do this tag, and I hope you have fun doing this tag. Let me know in the comments your favorite book that you've read so far this year, if you can pick one, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye!
Oh, I'm so glad you found